And actually, the best feedback is bad feedback, because the only feedback you learn from. And
100%.
I learned that in the ad agency. And starting off in an ad agency, you cry every day if you're at a proper one. You really do. You think you're the worst creative ever. You go home and you go, because you just have emails from clients that don't know that you're seeing them as the junior, going, "You're shit. What the hell is this?" Sorry. But then you go, "Yeah, they were right. That was crap." Like,
Okay.
because
So then that would push you then to be like, I can do better.
yeah. And then you get better faster, because, I was only a junior. So, of course, it was rubbish.
Yeah.
I looked at my old edits and I was like, that went out. Interesting.
So when I did my one of my very, very first mental health courses, when I did my mental health first aid course, I remember that the instructor said, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And that's something that really stuck with me, and I've repeated it many, many, many times ever since. But if you're the one that needs to be supporting, leading, guiding, mentoring others, you need to make sure that your cup is full, because
Definitely.
otherwise you've got nothing to give.
So at least not empty.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it can't be full all the time, definitely, but at least it can, not be empty, and you have your own problems to deal with. And you need to be, the supportive person for everybody else. And also, I think there's this idea in life that our job is to make other people happy, and for sure it isn't my job to make other people happy. It's my job to make myself happy. Absolutely. And I think sometimes, when you're managing a big group of people, maybe definitely with different ages and different experience with being away from home, you have to sort of understand that you can only do so much, and then there's a level that actually maybe professional help needs to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And so say, for instance, someone wanted to come to do a course here, that maybe they've already got a job in another industry, but they would love to try the marine industry or super yachts or whatever. But they financially can't make that leap because they can't leave the security of the job. You also offer funding for adults also.
Yep. So we offer two types of funding: repayable bursaries and non-repayable. So repayable bursaries, they're sort of like an interest-free loan, essentially. So it's that kind of cash flow issue. They haven't got the money right now.
Yeah.
They would really struggle to make that leap, but they want to.
Yeah.
And then we offer that funding, and then when they start working, they can start paying it back. So you'll meet, no doubt, lots of adult students here that are doing exactly that. They come from other industries and they just want a change of career, really. So it's about removing any barriers that people might have to entering the maritime industry.
So you're doing this month course then, and you have no experience whatsoever?
Pretty much building computers and stuff like that. So I'm used to working with like small components.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of scaled up, a bit more hands-on, a bit more rougher.
And what's the ideal for you? Are you thinking about changing career?
Yeah. So I went from doing the IT into gradually progressing to project management.
Yeah, in yachts?
And no. Software.
In IT, okay.
And then moved on to kind of this, because I'm looking to kind of move back to Croatia.
Okay.
And kind of start from there. Since it's kind of big yachting industry, just kind of made sense since I have a technical background.
Sure.
So move it into mechanical and just understanding how the yachts work.
So you're doing the month course. So what's your experience before?
Pretty much zero.
Okay.
I've come from special education teaching.
Wow, so a complete change then.
Yeah.
So what made you want to come to the UKSA?
I did my sailing qualifications at home and realised that I really like being out on the water.
Right.
So thought, okay, how can I make that into a career? I've always been quite sciencey anyway, quite into how things work and that sort of thing.
So what would be your ideal once you finish the course? Are you looking to get a job in yachting or in the marine industry?
I would love to do survey and research vessels. I think that would be really cool.
Which are very popular now. There's a lot of lovely super yachts that also double up as research vessels. Oh, well, hopefully we'll see you on one of those then. Good luck.
And the racing really does teach you grassroots engineering, isn't it? If you break down or whatever, you now drill down into why did it fail.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're able to bring good engineering through to the tenders, because we've learned on the race boats, pushing everything beyond its limits. We've learned what becomes reliable.
Yeah, I mean, you both have done every part of what it takes to build something like this from the start. You've sort of done every job, like you were saying.
Yeah.
When you're at Pascoe building ribs, you're doing things in the evenings, but you didn't have a big team. So then when you are building something, you can understand what will work and what won't work and how to make it the most reliable or
Well, and I
etc.
think it's also very important to understand when you're asking somebody to do a job for you or make it a little bit better or higher quality, if you don't understand how to do it yourself,
Yeah.
you're asking people that you can't really understand them,
Yeah.
saying to you, well, I can't make it any better or any faster or whatever. So I think it's very important to be able to pick up the tools yourself and or certainly have done that. I'm not doing very much on the tools nowadays.
Well, you've got an amazing team. who
Still
support you.
occasionally have to fix them.
Yeah.
So
Engel de Boer from Lloyd's, who we'd obviously worked together at that stage for about 3 years. And he said, look, I think I've got a product that you might be interested in. So he introduced me to the owner of Deployable Energy. And Bobby and I had a good long chat. And then we said, right, let's move this into the yacht and marine segment. And their unit is the 1 megawatt deployable energy, what we call the Unity module.
Right.
And the idea, obvious, is to reduce fossil fuel use, get rid of boats using fossil fuels as much as possible.
So what is the Unity model then in simple terms?
In simple terms, it is a 1 megawatt module. It's 2.8 meters in diameter, just under 3 meters in length, fully loaded with all the shielding and everything. It's 45 tons in weight. It can fit anywhere into a boat. We believe it'll fit into anything over 40 meters, depending obviously on the regulations and what's required on top of that shielding, if anything.
Yeah.
Ideally, there'll be nothing extra required, in which case you just slot it in kind of like a generator. In which case there's no fuel tanks, no diesel on board at all, and everything becomes electric.
So that's my next sort of question. Why nuclear then, rather than hydrogen or batteries or...
We believe that, well, it'll be a combination of two things, in our opinion. We'll be putting nuclear with batteries onto boats.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, and that is that if you power down a nuclear unit, when all these new micro reactors will be able to be powered down and powered up. So if you powered down because you're at anchor and you're only using, let's say, 20% load because the crew is on board, if you needed to move in an emergency, it's like having an emergency generator on a boat. You'd use your batteries to get your anchor up, to get everything going whilst the nuclear unit safely ramps up.
Right.
And that doesn't take long. That's, it's minutes.
And then he said to me he said, we've got anyone left? And I said, yeah, there's another chap, should have been here by now. And he arrives by tender. He's soaking wet. He's late. He had nothing with him, not even a notebook, right? He just stepped on board and then they shook hands. They offered tea. The three of us sat down and the owner said, right, I'm ready. And Cor looked at me and he said, ready for what? Maybe there's been a misunderstanding. And the owner's looking at me and Cor's looking at me and I didn't know what to say. And so and Cor got it right. He said, how can I design a boat for you? With respect, I've just met you. I don't know anything about your family. Have you got children?
Yeah.
Have you got kids? Were you married? Where do you want to go boating? What sort of boat? I mean, is this your boat that we're sitting on? Yes, it's my boat. Okay, so who chose that? You did? Okay, because it's got a bit of a masculine feel to the end. Well, and where do you normally sit? And then it says, in that chair. He said, can I sit there? So, of course, sat in the owner's chair to get the owner's view of the boat. He said, why do you sit there? And I was like, I don't know. I just do. I always sit in that chair. Yeah, probably because subconsciously, otherwise you like that view, right? Interesting. Chat, can we walk around the boat? So they walked around and they started talking about children and family and everything. And then it was like, lunch? So, sure. Wine? Sure. And sunset, he's calling for a tender-rod to drop Cor off.
Fantastic.
A year later, almost with no interaction, no exchanges between us other than, lovely to have met you. Thanks for lunch. Nice wine. Let me know if I can help. A year later, the owner and I were walking around the Monaco Boat Show, and Core jumped out of his stand, and he said, "Oh, have you got a second?" Yeah, we're on our way to meet someone. So I just want to show you something. And he had an A3 size presentation folder. We're standing up in the traffic of Monaco, the people traffic. And he started turning the page, and the owner's like, "No way, that's beautiful. Whose boat is that?" And Core's like, "Well, I'm hoping it's yours."
Wow.
Core said, "Every flight that I've taken, I sit in bed drawing on the back of books, and I've made all these sketches, and I'm hoping this is your new boat." Had all the elements that we had discussed with Core, and I shared with him the brief spec that I'd written, how many cabins, what sort of space the owner required, that he's an outside guy, not an inside guy.
Yeah.
And Core had drawn this boat, and that was it. The hook was set. Fish on.
Meant to be.
It was meant to be.
To be.
Yep.
What a wonderful story. And
I don't know, a change, because I was doing something completely different to what their friends' children were doing.
Yeah. And I guess what they thought you were going to do, because they probably had an idea in their head of what they wanted you to do career-wise after studying for so long.
Yeah.
And then say, "I'll see you in 6 months." And then not to come back after 6 months as well.
And I just didn't for 15 years, basically. Was on private vessels until I left the 60 metre, and then joined another 63 metre as Chistru with a charter as well. So I was on there for 5 years. But on the previous vessel was where I met my husband as well.
Yeah.
And so we worked together for pretty much my entire career. We've been working together, which has been wonderful. And people wonder how we've lived together in a bunk room for that length of time. But it's never been a problem. I couldn't see it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing, actually, isn't it? Obviously, I work with my partner, and people always ask me, "How on earth do you do it?" But actually, I couldn't imagine not doing it. It's actually means you've always got someone who understands the position you're in. Which actually, if I went home to a partner every night who didn't do what I did, they'd probably be thinking I was mad. So actually, it's quite a comfort sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I've never slept in a bunk room with him, so I'm not sure if we'd still be married if I was doing that. But I've met Giles; he's very nice though. So okay, so it's very exciting. Jez, I'm back to you again. Sorry.
It's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Jez said at the start that you wanted to keep quiet, and now I'm throwing all these questions at you. So, as an ex-nuclear submariner, are you surprised how long it's taken for nuclear to come into the conversation of wider maritime and yachting industry?
Yeah, so I think, when you understand the technology, the capabilities, the opportunities it presents, it is a question as to why it's not made an appearance sooner. And I think there's a very good answer for that. Internationally, this was tried in the 60s. We had the NS Savannah, the Otto Hahn. So there were different applications of nuclear-powered commercial vessels in the 60s. But they were, as we discussed earlier, they were using pressurized water reactors. It was all a bit new at the time. Most countries didn't have nuclear power. There's only a handful of countries. So the assurances, the work to get port access globally was very difficult for countries like the US. They had to provide, hundreds of pages of documentary evidence and assurances and insurance to have the NS Savannah go global, which it did, but meant that economically it was not particularly viable. The SOLAS A491, the Nuclear Code of Safety for Merchant Ships, was written in the late 70s, incorporated in 1981. It's a non-mandatory document, but again is pressurized water reactor specific and for ships that have direct drive propulsion, which none of what we're looking for today.
It's a sort of different technology back then.
I guess what Derek was saying is we're looking to do things very differently. It's going to be almost certainly it's going to be a nuclear electric hybrid future.
How you guys ended up where you are today, because you were both working on boats and obviously came ashore and became business owners together. as a business partnership, but not an actual partnership.
Yeah, that
So-
still gets
yeah.
confused sometimes.
Business
So we like
partnership,
always
yeah.
make the distinction.
Yeah,
Not together, business partners.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued about the dynamic. Also, I'm married to my business partner. I know the sort of.
I feel like I am sometimes.
Yeah.
I suppose you sort of are really.
Work-wife title.
Yeah. I actually always say to people when you're picking about who to go into business with, I think a business relationship is almost as important as a personal relationship.
Well, you
because-
spend so much time together.
Yeah, but also legally you're bound on so
And
many
also,
things.
you don't have our mortgages, we've got our team's mortgages to worry about and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a big decision to go into business with somebody.
So how did it come about then? What was the
Like
sort of
every great story, it started with a bottle of wine.
I love that.
And some Wolfreet in the south of France.
So I was working for Wilson Halligan from 2010 after being at sea. Nicola came in after a recommendation in 2011
Yeah, it's about that.
and just left the yacht to join Wilson Halligan, as it was just starting to grow under the Wilson Halligan banner. I'd become recruitment manager at the time, so I was kind of running day-to-day operations and recruiting for engineers. Nicola came into the business, and then just like that, she went back to sea,
Classic.
as everybody
Wasn't
leaves twice.
quite
Wasn't
ready.
quite ready
Yeah.
yet, that classic story.
And that was 2012. We just stayed in touch. I had a baby 2013, so I was definitely going to stay ashore. Talking to you, I got offered a good job at the same time. And then 2014, Wilson Halligan said, we're retiring next year. We're for sale. And then they involved me quite heavily in who they were selling to.
Right.
And one afternoon, Terry Wilson just said, make me an offer. So I was kind of talking with Nicola in the background and happened to be in France. We met up when Nicola was leaving a yacht. We had a bottle of wine or two.
Thought it would be the best idea.
Yeah, what a great start to a
And just-
conversation about the future of your life.
Yeah.
And just
Adjustment coming ashore from working on yachts,
Yeah.
and this isn't just for people doing as a business owner. People
Sure,
coming
yeah.
to any job, coming ashore is really, really challenging. You've gone from essentially you are as crew living somewhat in the lap of luxury. Someone else is paying for your toothbrush. You're being cooked for 3 times a day by a professional chef.
Yeah. You're washing.
Your washing's done for you. All this kind of stuff. You're not paying any tax. It's quite a good gig. And then to come ashore and have to sort of reintegrate into the real world at the same time as starting a company and not having any guaranteed income is kind of a challenge. So you touched on this point a minute ago. When I do interviews like this one and podcasts and things, one of the questions that always comes up is, do you have any advice to people starting up? Is that on your list? Any advice?
It might be.
Yeah. It's a good one.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm going to grab...
I'm actually not interested in your advice.
I don't know why I'm here, to be honest. This interview's a sham. No, yeah, it's always...
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Stay
It's,
working on boats,
you know,
earn all the money, don't pay tax.
it's kind of from the experience of if you're going to start a business, at least try and do a bit of proof of concepting while someone else is still paying your salary.
That's what I was saying. You were in a great position.
Yeah.
In my eyes, if someone says to me, I want to start a business, and I always say, you stay employed for as long as possible.
Yeah, right
You
until you
fill
get...
up that cup with your training, your knowledge, testing the product, finding who your customer is, building your social media on someone else's time. And then as soon as you get to the point where the business really needs you full time, what a great time to leave.
That being said, Alicia, for any of my staff listening upstairs, if you're moonlighting another business, that's not okay. We're going to have words.
Yeah, and any of my stuff also. It's bad advice.
Okay, good.